In the quiet cradle of Willow Creek, where every face felt like an extension of your own, and routines wove the fabric of trust, Mara Ellis believed her world was unbreakable. Mornings unfolded like clockwork, binding her to the familiar rhythm of friendship and small-town certainty. Yet lately, shadows flickered at the edges, whispers of doubt that her reflection might not be entirely her own. As the first light seeped through the curtains, she reached for the coffee pot, the steam from our mugs curling up like old secrets. The steam from our mugs curled up like old secrets, filling the kitchen with that familiar, bitter warmth. Liya and I had this ritual down to the chipped edges, me pouring first, her adding the splash of milk, both of us leaning against the counter in our matching robes, the ones we'd bought on that thrift store binge 2 summers back. The town outside our window was still asleep, all tidy lawns and identical shutters, the kind of place where mornings like this felt like armor, safe, predictable. She handed me my mug, the blue one with the faded "World's Okayest Friend" scrawl. Our mugs, mine from a county fair, hers the red knockoff we'd laughed about because it was close enough. "To another day of nothing exciting," she said, clinking hers against mine. Her smile was easy, eyes crinkling just like always. I sipped, the ceramic hot against my palm, grounding me. This was us. Liya Vance, my anchor since kindergarten, the one who knew my coffee week and my stories by heart. But as I set it down, reaching for the sugar on the shelf above the sink, my fingers brushed something out of place. Another mug, blue, just like mine, the same chip on the handle, the same uneven lettering, down to the tiny glaze crack near the rim. I froze, heart ticking a beat too fast. It wasn't there yesterday. I'd washed them both after lunch, stacked them side by side, mine on the left, hers red on the right. Now this twin sat smugly in the middle, as if it had always belonged. "Liya?" My voice came out softer than I meant, a question wrapped in steam. She glanced over, mid-sip, brow furrowing just a touch. "Yeah, nothing." I pulled my hand back, forcing a laugh that tasted wrong. It was silly. A mug. Maybe she'd grabbed one from the cupboard, some spare we'd forgotten, but the weight of it lingered. That perfect match staring back like a whisper I couldn't unhear. Was it really nothing? Or the first crack in the mirror we'd built our days around? I turned away, stirring my coffee harder than needed, but the unease slithered in, cool and insistent, pooling under my skin. Our mornings weren't supposed to hold strangers, not even in porcelain. The camera pans slowly over Elmwood Lane, a row of cookie-cutter colonials bathed in the flat, forgiving light of a late afternoon. Identical lawns, identical mailboxes, identical smiles, frozen in family photos, pinned to community boards. This is Milford, where roots run deep and faces are family heirlooms. Neighbors wave from porches, their voices carrying like echoes in a well-tended echo chamber. Cut to Mrs. Harlan, mid-60s, stirring sugar into her tea on her front steps. She's lived here 40 years, seen kids grow into echoes of their parents. "Liya and Mara, thick as thieves since high school," she says to the interviewer, off camera. Her eyes crinkle, but there's a flicker, something caught in the corner of her vision. Always did look alike, those two. Same laugh, same way they tilt their heads when they're scheming a girls' night. It's the town in 'em, you know. We all blend after a while. Grainy footage rolls. Liya Vance strolling down the sidewalk, her stride mirroring Mara's. Casual, unhurried, the kind that says she belongs. She pauses at the corner store, chatting with old Mr. Ruiz behind the counter. He nods, hands her a paper bag, but his brow furrows just a beat too long. Liya? Nah, couldn't be. But, the other day, she ordered Mara's usual. Black coffee, 2 sugars. Used Mara's mug from the shelf, the one with the chipped handle. Felt off, like seeing your own reflection blink wrong. Inside Mara's kitchen, later that evening. The lens lingers on the counter. 2 ceramic mugs, side by side, both faded blue with white handles, the shared relics of countless mornings. Mara lifts hers, steam curling up, but her fingers hesitate. She stares at the empty spot where Liya's should be. No, it was there this morning, wasn't it? The house feels smaller, walls pressing in like neighbors' whispers. From Mara's voiceover, soft and steady at first. Liya's always been my mirror. We finish sentences, share clothes, even mugs. But lately, people glance twice, like they're seeing double, and pretending it's just the light. Her reflection in the window warps slightly, the desaturated glow turning her face into a shadow of itself. Back outside, a cluster of neighbors at the block party. String lights, flickering, potato salad sweating in Tupperware. Whispers weave through the laughter. Liya's been around Mara's place more. Looks just like her from behind. A pause, then a chuckle. Must be all that time together. Don't rock the boat, right? Milford's no place for funny business. The camera pulls back, the group dissolving into a uniform blur of faces. Smiling, unchanging. But in the frame's edge, Mara's silhouette watches from her porch, mug clutched tight. Stability cracks, unease seeping in like fog off the river. If everyone sees the same, why does it feel like no one's looking at all? I sit alone in my dim kitchen, the kind of room where the fluorescent light hums like a trapped insect, casting shadows that cling to the edges of my coffee mugs. Liya's and mine, side by side on the counter, innocent as always. My phone is propped on the table, screen glowing faintly. The voicemail icon blinks, left by an unknown number. I hit play, more out of habit than curiosity, expecting another wrong number ramble from a neighbor. Static erupts first, a crackling storm that swallows the line, like radio waves fraying in a thunderstorm. Then, a voice filters through, familiar, yet not. Low, measured, the kind that could belong to anyone in this town. Mara, it says, clear as a bell amid the hiss. My name. My heart stutters. I lean closer, breath shallow, the mug in my hand forgotten, its warmth seeping into my palm. We have to move on the Ellis account tonight. She's oblivious, but the transfer's set. Funds to the offshore, just like we planned. Mara won't suspect a thing if we keep her looped in the routine. The words tumble out, distorted by bursts of white noise, but unmistakable. Plans. My name tied to schemes I don't recognize. Transfers. Accounts. A web of deceit that sounds like financial fraud. Or worse, something personal, invasive. Not my voice in my head. Not my life. Who is this we? And why am I the blind spot in their plot? Confusion hits like fog rolling in, thick and disorienting. I rewind, play it again, the static gnawing at my ears. Is that Liya's cadence? The slight lilt she has when she's excited about our coffee runs or town gossip? No, it can't be. She's my anchor, the one who knows my routines better than I do. But the mention, Ellis account, as if I'm the mark. My mind races, piecing fragments. The inconsistencies lately, her odd absences, the way our mugs seem to multiply in her cupboard. This isn't right. It's a glitch, a mistake. Or is it? The confusion curdles into wariness, a cold prickle up my spine. I pause the message, the static lingering in the silence like an echo. My reflection stares back from the phone screen, fractured, just like that pendant I wear. The mirror one Liya gave me years ago, symbol of our unbreakable bond. Now it feels like a lie, reflecting something stolen. I shouldn't trust the familiar pull, the urge to call her and laugh it off. This voicemail isn't just noise. It's a crack in the facade, a threat naming me, pulling me toward a trail I didn't ask for. Whose voice is weaving this distortion? And why twist my world to make me doubt the face I see every day? A few days later, Dylan hunched over the dusty microfiche reader in the town's forgotten library basement, the air thick with the scent of mildew and old ink. His fingers, calloused from years of chasing leads, scrolled through yellowed community yearbooks from a decade ago. Mara sat across from him, her knee bouncing under the scarred wooden table, the mirror pendant at her throat catching the dim fluorescent flicker, like a fractured eye watching them both. "I don't know, Dylan," she murmured, voice laced with doubt. "This feels like grasping at shadows. Liya's been my rock since we were kids. What if it's just coincidence?" He didn't look up, eyes narrowing on a grainy photo from a neighboring town's harvest festival. There she was, Liya Vance, but not. The face was identical. Same sharp cheekbones, same crooked smile. But the caption read, "Elena Vasquez, Volunteer Coordinator, 2012. No trace of the small-town girl Mara knew. Dylan's pulse quickened. This wasn't rumor. It was archive gold, a passport to another life. "Look," he said, sliding the printout across. His voice was steady, urgent, cutting through the hum of the machine. Mara leaned in, her breath catching. The photo stared back, a twin to her best friend, but wearing a stranger's name, pinned to a history that didn't match. Her hand flew to the pendant, fingers tracing its cool silver edges. It felt heavier now, like it was reflecting not just her, but this imposter's gaze. Doubt cracked open in her chest. Had Liya been mirroring her all along, stealing pieces of her life, one smile at a time? "No," Mara whispered, then louder, resolve hardening her words. "This is real. She's not who she says." She met Dylan's eyes, the alliance snapping into place, like a lock turning. The distance to Liya stretched into an abyss, cold and final. Dylan nodded, stacking the evidence. "We've got proof now. But how many more names? How deep does this go?" The question hung, unanswered, as they gathered their notes, the basement shadows lengthening like hidden faces waiting to emerge. That evening, I stood in Liya's kitchen, the one we'd shared countless mornings over coffee, mugs clinking like old friends. The air smelled of her lavender soap, familiar, pulling at the hope still flickering in my chest. Maybe it was nothing, a trick of light, a forgotten detail. I clutched the edge of the counter, my knuckles whitening. "Liya, the voicemail last night. It wasn't me. And that note in my handwriting, but I didn't write it. What's going on?" She turned from the sink, drying her hands on a towel, her smile the same easy curve I'd known since high school. "Mara, you're stressed. Work's been crazy for both of us. Sit down." Her voice was warm, laced with that sisterly concern, but as she stepped closer, her eyes, they didn't match. Flat, like polished glass, no spark of shared history. I searched them for the Liya I knew, the one who'd bandaged my scraped knees and whispered secrets at sleepovers. Hope twisted into a knot. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was unraveling. She poured coffee into our matching mugs, the ones with chipped rims from lazy afternoons. Handing me mine, her fingers brushed mine, cool and steady. Around her neck, the mirror pendant glinted, a silver oval we'd bought on that road trip, identical to the one heavy against my collarbone now. But hers caught the light wrong. Or maybe it was the way she touched it absent-mindedly, as if weighing its reflection. See? Everything's fine. You're imagining shadows? I sipped, the bitterness grounding me, but my pulse hammered. The inconsistencies piled up. Her laugh a beat off, the way she stirred sugar clockwise instead of counter. No, Liya, you're different, like you're wearing my skin. The words hung, raw, my voice cracking. Internal storm raged. Trust or terror? She tilted her head, eyes unchanging, cold as the pendant's edge. You're my best friend. Don't do this to us. Alleys like Dylan lingered in my mind, their warnings echoing from afar. But here, alone, the facade splintered. I couldn't ignore it anymore. The substitution clawed at my core, demanding proof from the ruins of my own certainty. Could I hold on to who I was if she became the mirror mocking me back? She watched, polite distance widening, as hope curdled into wariness, the kitchen closing in like a trap of our own making. The next morning at the precinct, the fluorescent hum of the precinct buzzed like a trapped fly, casting stark shadows across Detective Priya Shah's desk. Mara sat rigid, her fingers tracing the edge of a manila folder, eyes fixed on the grainy security footage flickering on the laptop screen. Dylan Ortiz leaned in beside her, his notebook half forgotten, breath shallow as the timestamp rolled. 2:17 a.m., a dimly lit convenience store on Elm Street. Watch this, Priya said, voice clipped. Pausing the feed, the figure on screen, Liya, unmistakable in her oversized hoodie, slid a credit card across the counter. The clerk, bored and bleary, rang up. One silver mirror pendant, etched with twin interlocking circles, identical to the one Mara wore now, warm against her collarbone. A gift from her mother years ago. But this purchase, time-stamped 3 weeks before Mara had even mentioned losing hers. Mara's mind reeled, a cautious whisper at first. Coincidence? No, not again. She'd promised herself no more brushing off the cracks. The mugs in Liya's cupboard, exact replicas of their morning ritual. The calendars synced to Mara's shifts at the library, down to the coffee stains. But seeing it here, captured in pixels, the wariness coiled tighter in her chest. Her pulse thrummed, hunter's instinct sharpening. Liya wasn't just borrowing, she was blueprinting. Priya fast-forwarded. Another store, another night, 2 ceramic mugs, white with blue rims, the kind Mara and Liya had laughed over at the flea market. Then a pharmacy receipt, same card, for a planner, pages filled with Mara's yoga class, Tuesdays, book club, Wednesdays. We've got 6 hits in 2 months, Priya murmured, her dark eyes flicking to Mara, all under aliases, but the pattern, it's you, down to the brand of toothpaste. Dylan's pen scratched furiously. She's not stopping at one life. This is replication, scaling it. Mara's gaze dropped to her pendant, the mirror catching a sliver of light, fracturing her reflection into duplicates. How deep did it go? Liya's smile in the mornings, her laugh echoing Mara's own. Were those echoes now blueprints for others? A chain, links forming in the dark, each imitation pulling tighter around the town's throat. She leaned forward, voice steady despite the knot in her gut. She's building a web. We trace the card, we find the next one. Priya nodded, the confirmation settling, like evidence logged, irrefutable. But as the detective printed the logs, Mara's thoughts raced ahead. How many routines has she stolen already? And when does the mimicry turn on us all? The pendant swung gently, a silent warning, as the screen looped back to Liya's shadowed exit. That night, in the dim motel room, the laptop screen flickered in the dim motel room, casting jagged shadows across Dylan's stubbled jaw. He leaned in, his voice, low, clipped. "This is from last night. Hidden cam at the diner. Watch her face." I nodded, throat dry, fingers twisting the chain around my neck. The mirror pendant, Liya's old gift, or so she'd said, felt heavier than usual, cool against my collarbone, like it was reflecting something fractured inside me. Doubt gnawed at the edges of my mind. Was this real? Or just another loop in the unraveling? I hit play. Grainy footage rolled. There was Liya, my Liya, in the booth by the window. Her laugh, that perfect echo of mine. But she wasn't alone. A man in a rumpled suit leaned across the table, voice muffled but clear enough. "The switch. It's clean. No one suspects. By week's end, you'll be her, fully." Liya's smile sharpened, eyes glinting under the neon sign. Mara's too trusting. They see me. They see her. Hand over the docs, and it's done. Her life, my gain. My breath hitched. The room spun, thoughts crashing like static on a bad line. Not paranoia, proof. She was plotting to erase me, slip into my skin while I faded into questions. But how deep? Had she already whispered in ears, planted the seeds? Dylan paused the video, his hand hovering near mine. Not touching, but close. "This isn't just talk. It's a plan. We go public now, or she buries you." Anxiety coiled tighter, a vice in my chest, squeezing out the doubt I'd clung to like a lifeline. Every familiar face in town, neighbors, friends, could be her web. I touched the pendant again, its silver surface blurring in my vision, mirroring the double I couldn't shake. Was I still me, or just her shadow waiting to dissolve? "We show this," I whispered, voice straining. "But if they think I'm cracking?" The words hung, unspoken. Could I prove it without shattering first? The following day brought the frame up as I stare at the shattered mug on the kitchen floor, shards glinting like broken trust. It's mine, the one with the chipped handle from our college road trip. Liya's voice echoes from the doorway, sharp and scripted. "Mara, what have you done?" Her eyes, my eyes, wide with feigned shock. The neighbors are already gathered outside, peering through the curtains of our shared rental, whispers buzzing like static. She found the stolen items in my closet. Mrs. Hargrove's antique locket, the bakery's missing cash box. Planted, all of it. I saw her slip them in last night when she thought I was asleep. But who believes that? In this town, faces like ours, familiar, smiling, seal fates. "You're leaving. Now." The landlord's words hit like eviction notice rain. He's not even looking at me. Eyes on Liya, who nods sympathetically, hand on his arm. It's for the best. She's changed. The crowd murmurs agreement. Proximity equals truth here. I've known these people since kindergarten. Now they cross the street. Alone on the porch, suitcase in hand, isolation claws in. Heart pounding, breaths shallow. No one calls, no one asks. My phone buzzes, a voicemail. I hit play. Static crackles, then her voice, distorted. "You should have stayed quiet, Mara. Now everyone sees you for what you are." It cuts to white noise, looping in my head. Is it her? Proof or paranoia? I can't just take this. Not silently. Fingers trembling, I dial Dylan. It's worse. She framed me. His pause, then urgency. "I'm coming. We'll document it. Every lie." Detective Shaw's line next. She sighs, but agrees to meet. The choice burns. Fold into their denial, or fight with what I know is real. As the sun dips, casting long shadows over identical lawns, resolve hardens. Who do you turn to when the evidence is forged, and the faces you trusted forge it? The static hums on, unanswered. In the motel that evening, the camera's red light blinks like a heartbeat in the dim motel room. Grainy footage, capturing the clutter of evidence, spread across the bed. Faded photos of Liya, smiling in Mara's old dresses. A stack of forged bank statements. Voicemails crackling with static that mimic Mara's voice, but twist her words. Mara Ellis sits hunched at the laptop, her fingers trembling as she cues up the recording app. Dylan Ortiz leans against the doorframe, arms crossed, his reporter's notebook half open, while Detective Priya Shah paces by the window, phone in hand, coordinating the anonymous upload to the local news Dropbox. "You sure about this?" Dylan asks, voice low, clipped. "I've been afraid, terrified, really, that the person you've known as me isn't me at all. She's stolen my routines, my face, my place among you. But fear isn't the end. It's the spark." Her words gain momentum, determination sharpening into something fiercer. Confident, she holds up a photo. Liya at the town hall, wearing Mara's coat, signing documents in her name. "Look closely. This isn't erasure. This is my truth breaking through. I won't let a familiar face overwrite me. My life, my voice, it's mine to claim." She pauses, breath even, the pendant glinting under the lamp. How does she scream her terror without handing Liya the script to silence her? The question simmers, unanswered, as she hits stop. Dylan nods approval. Priya texts the file. The upload begins, accelerating toward revelation. Mara's intuition armored now in pixels and proof. The community meeting arrived the next night, as the community hall buzzed with the familiar hum of folding chairs, scraping linoleum, neighbors nodding over coffee-stained agendas. I stood at the podium, heart steady as a metronome, the mirror pendant cool against my collarbone, a gift from Liya, or so I'd thought, until it became my anchor. Dylan sat in the third row, his notebook open, Priya Shah beside him, her badge glinting under the fluorescent lights. Liya was across the aisle, her smile a perfect echo of mine, but I knew better now. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, voice clear, slicing through the murmurs like a blade honed by months of doubt. Confidence bloomed in my chest, not the old blind trust, but something sharper, earned. "We've gathered to discuss Neighborhood Watch, but tonight, I need you to watch closer, to question what you see." Heads turned, Liya's eyes narrowed, but she leaned forward, poised, ever the charmer. The conflict clawed at me. Shield her deceptions to preserve the fragile peace we'd all clung to, or shatter it, risk the isolation I'd feared. But no, this was my choice, the dominant pull I'd wrestled into submission. I wouldn't cover for her anymore, not when she'd stolen my routines, my face, my life. I pulled the pendant free, holding it up to the light. It caught the beam, fracturing into twin reflections, one mine, one hers. This was hers once, but look closer. The engraving, it's reversed, like everything she touches. Gasps rippled. I pressed on, determination surging, turning my story into a weapon. Liya Vance isn't who she seems. She's mimicked me, our mugs, our walks, our secrets, to weave herself into your lives. Dylan's archives prove it. Fabricated IDs, vanished neighbors in other towns. She's not your friend, she's your replacement. Liya shot up, voice honeyed venom. "Mara, you're unraveling. This paranoia." "Paranoia," I cut in, unyielding. My tone a documentary clip, raw and evidentiary. Priya stood, nodding subtly, our new alliance solidifying as Liya's influence cracked. The room shifted, whispers turned to stares, doubt etching familiar faces. How could I prove the swap without torching the last threads of trust? The question hung, unanswered, as a woman in the back clutched her purse tighter, eyes darting between us. Liya's facade splintered. She backed away, the crowd's loyalty ebbing like tide. I reclaimed my voice, my identity, the pendant swinging like a pendulum of truth. The town wouldn't forget this night, nor would I.